This conference will now be recorded.
So yesterday's class we're understanding like what PEGA is and what options we have in PEGA. And we even understood or we even concluded like using PEGA we can develop internal applications only. For security reasons, actually using PEGA you can develop your main website as well as n number of internal applications. But based on license related factors, we will not be developing PEGA for our main websites. Okay, and every organization will have n number of internal applications. Everything such has to be developed with PEGA. So consider we join one company like CTS today. So on the day one you will be given with one employee ID. Okay, and after that you will be assigned for so and so project. So this project related work is what you have to do, meaning America client has purchased PEGA license and their applications has to be done with PEGA. So there is nothing like CTS involvement with the PEGA license here. CTS is just an vendor where helping BOA to develop their applications with PEGA. That's it. So after you joining this Bank of America, so Bank of America will have n number of internal projects. Those are to be developed by you. This is what generally happens. So consider any organization, maybe like Citibank. So for city organization, you might be having one application related to credit card development and one application related to loans development and one application might be related to accounts. So all this has to be developed. So today after you joining one company, your manager can ask you to start working on this credit card project. So in this credit card application, there might be 50 screens, one after another. You are supposed to design screen 1, then screen 2, then screen 3, 4 likewise, right? Consider you are starting with screen number 1. In every application in screen number 1, it will be kind of registration form, right? It will be kind of registration form. So generally as part of registration, we will be collecting customer first name, maybe last name, maybe age, mobile number. Likewise, few important things is what we'll collect. So your manager is asking you to design screen number 1 for this credit card application. Once you are done with this registration form designing, next your manager is asking you to start working on this project. The next application, loans. Even in loans application, you should be having again registration. Okay, so maybe today is like January 1st. If you go to any bank and ask for a credit card, they will collect all your details, right? Maybe after 3 months, maybe like April 1st, if you are going to the same bank and asking for loan, okay, asking for loan, still they'll collect all your personal information again. So if you say like that you are already having credit card with the same bank, if you are asking them to get the details from there, they will not get it. Every time for every transaction to be happening, we have to get the latest information from the customer. That is what. Maybe when you are taking credit card, you might be in Chennai. Today you might be in Hyderabad, right? So they wanted to get every time latest information for any kind of successful transaction. Fine. So once you have designed screen number 1 of this application 1, your manager is asking you to design similar registration even for loans application also. Here also same things, right? Like last name, first name, age, mobile number, whatever it is. Once you are done with this also, your manager is asking you to design screen number 1 for this third application, even for this first name, last name, and other things to be collected. So once you are done with all these three designs, then you realize that you have done some repeated work, correct? So whatever the form you created here, the same you are implementing here also, and same you are implementing here also. Some kind of repeated work is what you are doing. Instead of you doing these repeated works, if we can do this at one common place and use it for multiple times, then reusability will be improved, performance will be improved, right? So for that, what we are supposed to do is whatever or whenever you are working on any application and whatever the work you are doing, if it looks reusable, don't straight away create in that application. If you create in that, it might not be reused into other sibling applications. So you are supposed to maintain this in one common library kind of. Suppose if this is like common library, what we're considering. if I'm creating like last name, first name, age, mobile number, all the things here, and this as a whole I can use it here. And since this is like common library point connected to other things also, same thing can be used into this one also, right? Same can be used into this one also, right? So you have designed this for only one time, reusing it for multiple times. Maybe after 2 years, this bank wanted to start one more application, maybe like insurance application, whatever it is. So if in their screen number one, they wanted to use this, it should be possible. It should be possible. So finally, what I mean to say here is you as a developer, whatever the task you are given with, so you should first understand the scope. So the work what we are doing now, it must be reused in some other applications also. That is what you have to understand about the scope. If you feel the scope is used wide, then it has to be maintained in one common library, and everything connected to that library can use that content. So this is what the reusability things getting applied. So technically, okay, so if I'm redesigning the structure or diagram, so we can understand this as like library, right? So for which we can have one credit card application, we can have one loans application, we can have one accounts application. Okay, accounts application. If you simply work here, it might not be reused. You are supposed to design something, it must be reused everywhere. So this library, what is like common point we are understanding, this is to be technically called as framework application. What is this? Yeah. So this is to be technically called as framework application. And all the below applications, so we are calling these are like internal applications, right? And we even call it like intranet applications, right? Common words of this. Okay, and these applications whatever we are seeing, this is to be technically called as implementation applications. What are those? Implementation applications. So with Pega we'll be developing implementation applications on a whole. Okay, will be developing implementation applications. So in the process of developing implementation application, if anything looks reusable, you'll maintain in the above framework. So if you go for a bank or maybe go for a hospital, wherever they are using Pega, so they will be working on these implementation applications only, just to make reusability applicable for more than one implementation. We'll be maintaining one framework application. All the reusable things has to be maintained in this framework application and has to be used here. So maybe if I'm designing everything at here itself, I'll get the output, right? Okay, I'll get the output. And here also, if I'm doing again from beginning, if I'm again reworking here, still I'll get the same output, right? And even here also, if I'm doing everything from beginning, if I'm not creating anything in the library or framework, if I create everything manually here or here or here, still output will be same. So after you developing this, if I'm a tester, okay, QA, if I'm a testing team here, so what I'll do, I'll just run this application and check for the screen number one, what you designed, right? So business analyst will give us one common requirement. They will give us one screenshot or mock-up kind of. So considering this as the reference, I'll design this. Considering this as the reference, testing team, they have to test it. Now testing team, they don't know anything about Pega. So they don't know anything about .NET, whatever it is. They are just an output testers. So if I'm the tester here, what I'll do, as per the requirement, is output correct or not? That's what I'll check. So in this process, you might design here and get the output, or you might design here and still get the output, right? So out of which, if you are just getting the output, there will not be any problem from my end. if I just if I can see output, there will not be any problem. Okay, and once testing is done, next phase is UAT, right? UAT means the real users, real bank employees, they will come. So they will also just run and check. Even then they cannot identify whether you are creating everything here or you are creating somewhere at the top and using it. So they will not identify, they just wanted to check for the output. Okay, and the next one will be production or pre-prod, whatever it is. So meaning, what my statement here is, whenever you are developing some implementation application, you are supposed to think about the scope And if this work is looking reusable in other implementations, it is to be created in framework. So then performance will be good. That is what I'm saying. So maybe if you are not following that and blindly doing it in this way, still you'll get the output, but you will not get any problem with the testing team or further phases, right? Okay, further phases. Then where might be the problem? Even if you're following this kind of bad design, also you should not get a problem as per our statement today. But what happens is, at the end, consider this as like production. After UAT, then it will be like production. So in production performance will be poor, right? If you're not designing properly, so there will be some slowness, performance will be poor. Maybe if you go to SBI bank today, maybe time is like 12 p.m, afternoon 12 p.m, which will be generally peak hours in any bank. If you go to SBI bank and go for any kind of registration or any query, whatever it is, there they might say like server down issue, they might say. But if you go for any privatized bank, ICICI Bank or Axis Bank or Citibank, whatever, so they will not say like server down related things. Why? Because they are very cautious about the performance. Government websites generally they will not bother about all these things. Okay, so in production, if something is going slow, okay, if my bank is Axis Bank or Citibank only, okay, if in Citibank production, if performance is poor, so performance poor meaning if I'm a bank employee at Citibank, I have to register customers one after another, right? So generally, if customer registration per day, we used to do 100 customers per day, and because of this bad design, whatever you are doing as a developer, because of system getting slow, there might be only 25 registrations happening per day. I'm trying to register one customer, so it is taking almost like half an hour for each person if it is slow. So overall, if performance is poor, then this city client might think like PEGA is slow, right? City client might predict or think like PEGA might be slow. So that is the reason there might be chances of city client canceling PEGA license also, right? Okay, so there might be chances of canceling PEGA license from the city client. So why PEGA team will accept it? PEGA team, they are developing this complete product from many years. So they are following best practice. They are making everything automated. You as a normal developer using this vast tool and doing something wrong, so that if it is getting escalation to the client and if it is impacting the product business, so who will accept it? No one will accept, right? So PEGA persons will not accept at all. So finally, what I mean to say here is, every time whenever you're doing any development work, anything PEGA development work, make sure you follow the best practices. If you are not following the best practices, then PEGA team will not allow. They will not accept it. How they will know? So today my manager gave me one task. Instead of I'm doing it here, I'm doing everything here. So next testing team, next phases, right? Who will identify? So will PEGA team monitor each and every person for each and every minute for each and every requirement? It's not that possible. But still they have to know the status, what is happening. For that, what is happening is, so this PEGA software, whatever we are using, it will be having one powerful algorithm. So to check for each and every action what a developer is doing. Okay, based on the development standards, there will be something called compliance score deciding. What is this? There will be something called compliance score getting automatically generated by the PEGA algorithm. So this compliance score should be 100% every time. If it is less than that, maybe 90% or 80%, then it is your manager responsibility to fix this. Suppose if I'm your manager, if you all are like team members, I'll give you some tasks, right? So you will be doing the task, you might get the output. I may not monitor each and every person every time. So I'll just check whether person 1 has completed his task or not. Person 2 has done with his tasks or not. That is what overall status I can check. But my task or my duty is to check for this application score, which should be 100%. If it is something less than that, so there will be some reasons also. So and so developer has done something wrong. I'll call that person. I'll call that person. And then I'll ask him what is the task given and what is the thing he has done, why he has done in this way, why did you not create in framework, we maintain in framework. All these things will come back into picture. So finally, Every application will be decided with something called compliance score that will be automatically generated by the PEGA software. So person from PEGA systems or person from here, your manager, they will just check for the score and they will proceed further. Getting my point? Online, everyone following, right? Just confirm me. So online,
Yes,
everyone
sir.
clear? Any doubts anyone
Uh,
so far? Clear, right? Okay. So finally, one organization will be maintained with a framework. Okay, a framework. And this might be connected with multiple implementations. Multiple implementations. So whatever the work you are doing, maybe this is credit card, this is loans, this is accounts. So you as a developer might be asked to work on credit card design, and maybe your friend, another developer. So his manager might ask him to work on this one. Okay, so if you are supposed to design something like, so you are given one requirement to design first name, last name, age, and maybe credit card type. Consider credit card application will be having screen number one with basic details, along with that credit card amount, how much you are looking for. So credit card type, basic credit card, platinum credit card, or gold, whatever it is. So if you are allowed, if you are asked to design this screen, what you will do? You should first think for each and everything, so whether it is reused or not. First name, it is no doubt to be reused in more than one place, right? Better to create first name in framework. Am I correct? Better to create first name in framework. What about last name? Where we have to create last name also again in framework. And what about age? Age also in framework. And what about credit card type? So credit card type, maybe if you are creating it here, no doubt you can use it. No doubt you can get the output. But this particular thing might not be reused in more than one implementation, right? Again, compliance score, you will be getting one suggestion saying like, this is created at framework and used in only one implementation. So you are supposed to maintain at this point only. Online, everyone getting right? Online people, everyone following right clearly?
Yes.
Okay. So now if you are supposed to design loans application, for that you have to go for first name, last name, maybe loan type, and maybe age. Now tell me first name where you'll create, first name where you'll maintain, framework. Am I correct? Last name and loan type, implementation, and age. So you are saying like this first name, last name, age you will create in framework. What is the point of creating it again? We know we're already having these things, right? We're already having these things. So your earlier developer felt these as reusable and created in the framework. You as a developer, first what you have to do is the reusable things, whether already created or not. It is not like creating again and again. You should just check in the above framework whether those are already being maintained or not. If it is maintained, you should be in a position to use those. It's not like again recreating there. Okay, you should blindly use that content here. And the next one, loan type, you have to create it. Overall your screen like this will be achieved, no doubt in it. And similarly, if I feel something like first name, last name, whatever it is, so if you feel something as reusable, check it in the framework. And consider I wanted to include like mobile number extra. Now I wanted to collect first name, last name, mobile number. So first name, last name, you will just check whether it is there or not. It is there. Mobile number, you'll just check it in. If it is not there, where you'll create? In framework. Why? Because mobile might be reused in some other applications in future also, right? So in this way you have to understand about the scope. So where to create, where to maintain reusable things. Okay, fine. So finally, what is the definition of framework? Can anyone tell me what is the definition, what you understood about framework? Just tell me.
The reusable components are kept in the framework in order to reuse in any
So
implementation
yeah,
application.
framework is something where we will be maintaining all the reusable components. Am I correct? All the reusable components. And implementation is something where we will be maintaining all the specific components of those applications. specific components of that. Okay, so this is like overall framework and implementation, just basic overview. Next, one local bank, Indian Bank, SBI. So SBI has got one banking framework, and this has got credit card application, maybe loans application, maybe accounts application. So now once again tell me, if I wanted to design like first name, last name, where you will maintain in framework only, right? First name will maintain here, last name, maybe age. Okay, now if I want, I'm designing this one. If I wanted to create something like CIBIL score, where you will maintain? CIBIL score is something where it should be used in every place. Tell me what you'll where you'll maintain? Framework only, right? Yeah. So if I wanted to maintain something like, please go on. Online people, please go on. So if I wanted to maintain something like um, ICIC, sorry, what is that? IFSC code. Where you will maintain this IFSC code? IFSC code, which is something to be used for all the three applications, right? Still, you'll maintain IFSC code here. Okay, no? Still, you'll maintain IFSC code. Now, now this SBI has started new application related to insurance also. So you can go for SBI Bank and you can even go for SBI Life Insurance also, right? Both are different. Both are different. So now SBI wanted to start their insurance sector, maybe one implementation for vehicle insurance. If you go to SBI Life Insurance, their counter number one might be for vehicle insurance. Counter number two might be like property insurance. Counter number three might be related to health insurance. So if your client is saying like to add three implementations, which is to be under insurance sector. So now tell me these three implementations, can I connect it to this framework? Can I connect to this framework? Chepan online work. Can these three can be connected to existing framework? Yes or no? Tell me.
Yeah, we can connect.
Yeah, we can.
We cannot connect. So maybe if I'm connecting these three also, now I'm working on this one. If I wanted to include something like bank ID, if I wanted to include or show something like bank ID, where you will create this bank ID? Bank ID will be used here and here also, right? Where you will create bank ID? In framework. So if it is used in more than one place, no doubt it has to be maintained at the top only, right? In framework, you will maintain. If you maintain in the framework, will this not be used to all its connected childs? Here also bank ID will be pulled out. What for bank ID for an insurance sector? Not required, right? Not required. So now tell me again, I'm asking you the same question. Will I be connecting these three implementations to the existing framework or no?
No.
Hmm? We have to go for
Yeah, my speed still is
you have to go for separate framework. So what we are understanding here is one organization can have multiple frameworks also. It's not like one single organization can have more than one framework depending upon your project complexity. Okay. Now, if I'm maintaining something like insurance framework, and if these three are connected to this one, consider if these three are connected. Now I wanted to design this. So if I wanted to show something like policy number, where you'll maintain? Which framework?
Insurance.
In insurance framework you will maintain, am I correct? Why? Because policy is something which is to be used only for these three. So now if I wanted to include something like policy type, again here it right. So again policy type will maintain it here. So if I wanted to include something like uh, bank address, where will maintain? In banking framework, am I correct? Banking address. Now here if I wanted to design something like first name, what will do?
Insurance framework.
If I
it
Should
wanted
takes
to
from the
show
require.
bank framework.
It will be
last
created
name,
an
what
insurance.
it will do?
Create it in the insurance framework and use it in the implementation.
Tell me online people, if I wanted to go for
We'll take
first
from
name
bank
last,
framework.
you will
Bank
get it
framework
from
will take.
bank framework. Is your application connected to bank framework? Is your
That
application connected?
first name, last name, age will be created in insurance framework.
Okay, so you mean to say that you will create again first name, last name, age, these things here. If I wanted to use those again from the above framework, it can be pulled out. This is what you are saying. So if you closely understand, while designing this application, you created all the reusable things here. So will these not be used in other implementations? No, no, generally I'm asking. So in other implementations, will I not get a requirement to use first name, last name? I'll get it right. Here also I'll be getting necessity to use first name. So you created it already at some point, and if it could not use it in some of your projects, so somewhere you did wrong, right? You created this one time and again you are creating it one more time. Now suppose if they wanted to start one more sector related to retail, okay, and if they wanted to start three more applications, if they wanted like first name, what you do? Again you have to create it, right? You cannot use above one or maybe the second one. So somewhere you are going wrong, am I correct? Somewhere you are going wrong, so the structure what you are maintaining is not correct every time. So what you will do for this, tell me.
Yeah, if it is designed under the same project, you can use it, right?
Should be reused at
Maybe
every corner of my project, that is what my requirement. What you will do,
maybe the we can
you should be
use the
maintaining one,
interface
no,
interface
listen, listen.
between frameworks.
You should be maintaining one more main framework for all the frameworks. Consider this as like main framework. So this can be connected to banking framework. This can be connected to insurance framework, and maybe in future this might be connected to something like retail framework. So this can have three implementations today, and this can have like three implementations. Maybe this one, maybe with three implementations, whatever it is. Now, if I'm working on this credit card project, in this process, if I feel like first name, where I have to create main framework, right? First name you have to create it here. If you create, it must be used into all of its shells in turn to every corner of our project. Okay, and if I wanted to design something like, if I wanted to include something like credit card type, where you will maintain in the credit card implementation itself. So if you wanted to maintain something like bank address, where you'll create, you'll create it in banking framework. Okay, you will create it in banking framework. Consider we are supposed to start this vehicle insurance project, and this one I wanted to again get like first name. So you can straight away get it from above framework to here, and from there you can use it here, right? Yes or no? In this way you have to understand. Overall, we are concluding it like one project can have more than one framework. Okay, more than one framework, that depending upon your structure or requirement. So this is what you have to understand. Okay, fine. So consider one more example. So we as a whole wanted to start a bank in Hyderabad, very small startup bank. Okay, ABCs or bank organization or company name. Now this being like startup, we wanted to start only with credit card for now. Maybe after 2 years we wanted to go for the next one slowly down the line. So we wanted to go for only credit card. Okay, only credit card meaning this is implementation. Am I correct? This is implementation. Now in this I wanted to design first name, last name, age, mobile number. Tell me where you'll create. Where you'll create. So
We'll
my
create one
requirement is,
more.
In framework.
okay. So even for one implementation, maintaining framework, is it really required? So this is like design one. Design two is ABC. You are saying that you'll maintain framework, and below which anyway only one credit card application, right? So my requirement is to design first name, last name, something here. So even for one implementation, maybe if you are creating in framework, no doubt, these are like reusable. First name, last name, age, if you are creating it here. So it has to be reused into this place only. Okay, so if it is only one implementation, why can't you directly create it here? What is the point of framework in this case? So Yeah, so based on these two discussions, what I'm asking is, will you be going for structure 1 or structure 2 for now? Tell me. Structure 2, huh? Okay. Tell me, online people, will you go for structure 1 or 2 in this case?
Two.
2. Why 2? So maybe if I'm going with structure 1, I'll create everything in this implementation and get it done. No doubt output I'll get. And after 2 years, if I wanted to go for loans application design, okay, and this has to be done everything from zero, right? Why? Because other implementation data we cannot get it. So this has to be done everything from the zero. So by the time we create one new application, if we're having framework ready, so most of the content can be reused onto this one, right? So finally, if your project is having one implementation or multiple implementations like this, okay, maintaining framework is strongly recommended by PEGA. It's not mandatory value. It's up to you. Maintaining framework is strongly recommended. At least one framework is recommended. And based on your project complexity, you can have n number of frameworks also. So based on the reusability factor, you should understand where to create and how to reuse that. So this is what you have to do. So this is our organization. This is our main framework. This as our banking framework, maybe this as our insurance framework, and we are having one credit card, maybe loans, maybe accounts, and vehicle insurance, medical insurance, property insurance. We are having three implementations. Now I'm a developer here. So I wanted to include something like policy type. Where you'll create, just tell me again.
Insurance claim.
Policy type you'll create in the insurance, right? If I want to create like first name, where you will create?
Mainframe.
Main framework. Am I
Main.
correct? Main framework. Okay. Now, if I wanted to include something like uh, vehicle number, where you will create?
Insurance. No, vehicle insurance implementation application.
Vehicle number, where you will create? Here itself, right? Why? Because this will not be
Implementation.
reused in no, implementation. This will not be reused in the medical or property insurance. Fine. So now if I go to SBI insurance, so there in counter number one employee is there, is trying to deal with any kind of vehicle insurance, maybe two-wheeler, four-wheeler or heavy vehicle, whatever it is. Now this management is deciding to create two separate applications, vehicle insurance for two-wheeler and maybe vehicle insurance maybe for four-wheeler. So if I go for this insurance company and ask for two-wheeler insurance, they might ask me to go to counter one. If I say like four-wheeler, they might ask me to go to counter four. So meaning two different implementations is what we have to start. Fine. Now, if I'm trying to design this one, consider if I'm trying to design this two-wheeler. So here I want to include something like policy number. Where you will create?
Again, we will do the policy number is
Policy
again
number.
insurance framework application.
Insurance framework only, right? So if I wanted to include something like vehicle number,
So
where you
again,
will create?
create one framework like vehicle insurance framework, then place it.
Okay. So tell me, online people. So if I'm working on this application which is like two-wheeler, and I wanted to create something like vehicle number, where you will maintain. Tell me, online people.
Framework.
Framework.
Frame. So if you maintain like vehicle number, I wanted to include vehicle number, maybe engine number or chassis number, tire size. So all these are related to vehicle only. Am I correct? So if you are maintaining or these things will be used here as well as here also. So you are in a plan to go for somewhere at the top framework. If you create like vehicle related data, will this not be reused into medical and property insurance, which is not required, right? So if this is the scenario, what you do? What you have to do is, so you are supposed to create one more framework for vehicle alone. Okay, you will be creating one more framework, maybe like vehicle framework, and below which you might be having implementations, right? Two-wheeler, maybe four-wheeler. So if anything commonly reused between these two, create it in this one. If anything commonly reused between these four, create it here. If anything commonly reused only between these three, create it in banking. If it is like common for all the things, go for main framework. So depending upon your project design, you have to change it. Okay, frameworks count might be increased. Understanding, right? Okay. So after you learning everything, you'll start attending interviews. So in interviews, interviewer might ask you the experience. You might say like 3 years or 4 years experienced. If that is the scenario, he can just give you pen and paper and ask you to show your current project design. So what you'll do for that? You'll design something like this, right? You just include your organization name, maybe how many frameworks you are having, maybe how many implementations. So overall, you'll try to include this design. But this design is not completely correct. If you just design this and give it to your interviewer, he might ask you to explain this application. What is happening in credit card? That's what he might ask you. You can say like this application is designed to register new customers or to support the existing customers for their upgradation or cancellation, whatever it is. So if a customer wanted to register, what design you have done? He might ask you this question. So you can say like, you'll say general like, so there first we'll collect his PAN card number, and based on PAN card number we'll get CIBIL score. Then we'll proceed further about his eligibility. This is what you'll check. From where are we getting this CIBIL score? Is it from your bank database? No, right? It has to be from third party, maybe RBA application. So RBA might be having all the data repository, and once you hit on this button, it has to interact with that application. From there, we are getting back the response, right? Okay, so if this is the thing what you are answering, then he will again ask you why this is not included in your project design. Is this not part of your project structure? So on click of this, we have to interact with some integrations, right? So this is also part of your structure, meaning this as a whole to be considered as your application structure. Getting my point? Okay, application structure. Consider your bank is like SBA. Consider your project is like RBA. Sorry, your project is like RBA, where RBA has to provide service for hundreds of banks. So maybe this has bank one, maybe bank two, bank three. From bank one, whatever the request we get, we'll send back the response, right? From here, we'll send back the response. Okay. So if this as a whole, we should call it like an application structure, our own applications. And this as a whole, meaning your applications might be like a source for other applications. Your applications might be like a requester for other applications. This is third party. So you are requesting from them. You might be acting like a requester in this case, or you might be acting like a provider in this case. So this as a whole also should be included. This we call it like an organization structure. So this is to be called as application structure, and this is to be called as organization structure. So interviewers are expecting this from you. Okay, if we just draw this, yeah, if we just draw this application structure, they might ask you, or you are giving chance for them to ask extra questions. Straight away, if you can maintain this should be answerable. Fine. And after your interview is done, next you join company, right? Next you join company. So if you are your manager will give you one screenshot to design this for credit card. That's what he'll say. Okay, and he'll create you with one ID password also. You have to log in with that, and you are supposed to design screen number one according to that. So in that process, you should understand whether your application is having any framework or not, right? Okay, if so, how many frameworks? All these things you have to understand. Without you knowing about this parent structure, what you can do? Okay, if I feel something like reusable, where you will create? First, you should understand that it is having one parent and it is having another parent, maybe third one, maybe fourth one. So you should understand it's a parent structure. Else you cannot proceed. Am I correct? Else you cannot proceed. So day one, will you understand everything? No, right? Today, just you joined at 9 o'clock. Manager is simply giving the task and asking you to do this. So without any knowledge or transfer or whatever it is, they're simply asking you to do this requirement. So in this context, if you go back to your manager and ask like, what is our structure? Is this having any parent or not? Or it is having any other parent or not? If you ask this to your manager, he'll straight away say like, just open and check it from your end. That is what he'll say. Meaning application structure can be easily identified from our end. You as a developer, after you logging in, you can check what are all its parent applications. But you cannot understand on the day one about organization structure. So if you ask your manager about organization structure, he has to provide, no doubt. But application structure, you need not ask anyone. Okay, for this organization structure, if you ask, he might give you one PDF document with diagrammatical or pictorial representations, or generally, whatever the organization, they will be taking like one a small flexi kind of, they'll just attach to the walls of your ODC. So in your office like ODC, so organization structure might be stick to their walls where everyone should see. That is what their intention is. Understood, right? How to identify organization structure, how to identify application structure, you have to. So overall, we are understanding importance of framework application and importance of implementation. So is this clear, every one of you? Online, everyone clear?
Yes.
Online, everyone clear? Okay. So we're understanding like framework is like important. Now, with this knowledge, we can start designing frameworks. We can start designing implementations. So before we starting designing, we should understand something other basic concept. So today you might be joining in any project like Bank of America. So Bank of America will be having like credit card application, loans application, and other things. So those are to be designed with PEGA. That is what they decided on day one. So what they will do, they will try to interact with, or they'll try to contact PEGA team, and they have to get the license, and they will make the applications ready, right? So for this, Bank of America, they will not do all the development work on their own because they're product owners. They will not understand completely functional. So there will be some consultancy companies like TCS, Cognizant, Accenture, HCL. All these are like functionally masters. Okay, whatever the requirement I give for TCS or so and so company, apart from just they doing their task, they will extra give lot of process improvements. So that is the reason, even if it is costlier for any client to maintain those many teams, to maintain those many vendors, still they want the product to be successful. That is the reason they will give this project work to TCS, CTS, whatever it is. Even at Bank of America at client level, there will be PEGA team. So, but they will be constant, their development team, they will be concentrating more on product improvement. Yeah, yeah, they will be concentrating more on the analysis or requirement part. They will not dig much into development. Okay, development, these consultancy companies will do far better compared to any product. That is what they think generally. Fine. And that too, you joined one company like CTS as an PEGA developer. So there, as a PEGA developer, after you developing everything, next it has to be tested, right? It has to be tested. So generally testing, it will be assigned for some other company, maybe like TCS. So your testing team might be in TCS. Okay, and maybe deployment team might be like Accenture, and maybe reporting team. I'm not talking anything about PEGA. Generally, I'm talking about. So reporting team might be like HCL. Okay, reporting might be like HCL. Meaning, one client, what is he doing is whatever the project work he wanted to develop from zero to completely, he will be dividing the phases and giving to different vendors. So if they're dividing their project work between different vendors, so this client will have three advantages. Just considering these three advantages, all the work will be divided between companies. So day one, Bank of America, after they getting license from PEGA, they will start bidding. Okay, so all the vendors, CTS, TCS, Accenture, everyone will come for that bidding. And Bank of America will say like, we wanted to design one credit card application with 50 screens. This has the requirement, that has the requirement, whatever it is. And they'll say like, we want this to be done in 2 years or 1 year. And this is our budget, whatever budget they'll not say. So they will say like complete other things. So now CTS company, they can come forward and say like we can do it in $100 million. And second company, maybe TCS, if they are very strong to grab this project, they have to quote little less, right? And maybe the other company, they'll still quote little less. So overall, whoever is giving the best price, client has to give development work for them only. Consider CTS project has grabbed that development, and once development is done, the next testing phase, they will not again give to CTS, the same company. So for the remaining companies, they might be given. So TCS will be given like QA, maybe this one, maybe deployment, and the other one like this. So client will be giving applying competition between all these vendors, and they will be dividing each work between all the companies. So if they are doing in this way, what will happen is, maybe you joined as a developer in CTS. So maybe on March 31st, you must be getting hikes, right? Generally, after you're working for 1 year, maybe on March 31st, or in some companies like December 31st, financial year or calendar year, you have to get hikes, right? You will go to your manager and ask for the hike. So in that scenario, your manager will ask you what you have done, what extra things you have done to increase the hike. So your current package is so and so, you are doing the same thing, will maintain the same. So did you do anything extra to increase your salary? This is what he'll ask you. So in that context, you will just give out all the extra things or achievements what you have done. You might say like, I have done all the tasks in time. You might say like, I'm stretching my hours to help my fellow teammates. You can say like, I have given extra process improvements for the client where I got appreciations. Okay, you can say like, I'm working even for other teams also internally, whatever it is. Based on all your comments, he might increase you maybe 5% hike or 10% hike at the max. That's it. Fine. And even your manager should get hike rate every year. You are asking your manager, but still your manager should get hike rate. Whom he has to ask? He has to ask his manager. So if he is going to his manager and asking for the hike, so his manager again will ask the same question. What extra thing you have done? So he might be saying like, I have managed my complete team. Okay, I have given some extra process improvements for the client. So we as a team got very good appreciation. So we are helping other teams. If your manager is saying to his manager all these points, then the above manager will say like, that is not your duty, that is your position's duty. Whoever is in that position has to do that. What extra thing you have done, you as a manager, this is all your basic responsibilities. So have you done anything extra? That is what they'll ask. Meaning whatever he say, they'll say like, that is not extra task. So finally, what managers expecting from this manager is, or what the management expecting from this manager is, they should get extra projects from the client. Extra projects from the client. Suppose TCS has got testing project, right? If this manager could grab this project, okay, could grab this project, here employment will be more, so billing will be getting from the client to our company, right? So managers are given goals to get projects from other companies. That is what their things is. So if that is their goal, what this project manager has to do, he has to work 100% hard. Along with that, he generally, not, I'm not talking about any particular company, he generally should try to showcase something poor performance of other companies to the client, right? So that is what generally happens. So manager from here, he can go to client and say like, so and so testing team is not doing perfect, so and so deployment is not going well, maybe reporting part is not going well. So our team, so we are having very good team about testing, so they will work perfectly, so they are ready to work for free for 2 months. First 2 months they'll work for free, and next we can start billing. That is what they'll try to negotiate, and they'll try to grab the project. Getting my point? So meaning, if this manager is in that intention to grab the projects from other company, so other company managers also will be in the same intentions, right? So even this manager should get some hike. So his duty is to grab projects from other companies. Yes or no? So here development manager should always think about developing the things perfect first of all, and then he'll try to focus on others mistakes, saying like, testing team is not doing perfect. Okay, and here test manager, he might go to client and saying like, we are getting hundreds of defects, so the development team is not doing perfectly, so we are getting hundreds of defects. So if this is continued, there might be chances of defects raising in the production. Maybe after 3 years or 4 years, there might be chances of new defects also. So we are having very good development team. They are ready to work for first 6 months free. Then we can extend it for next 6 years or 5 years. This is what they'll try to grab. So every project manager will be in intention to grab other projects. Okay, fine. So if this is the scenario running out, okay, every project manager has to work perfectly, right? First of all, so meaning for the client, if since everyone is working perfect, development will be good, testing will be very good. They should not get any defect here. Testing will be good. Okay. So client will be having best quality delivered. Okay, they'll be getting best quality. If they're putting competition between different companies, no doubt they'll get best quality. And second thing is, so the other company, when they're trying to grab this, they are negotiating their price also. They're saying like first 6 months is what they're doing for free, so budget will be saved. And third and very important thing here is, if a project is divided between three different companies, any company will not know everything. So here, you as an CTS developer will know completely about development. Will you know completely what an HCL person doing it for reporting? No. And if I'm HCL person here, will I know everything what a testing person from here doing, what tools they are doing, what their real exercises? No, right? So every project will not, sorry, every company, sub company will not understand completely about any project. So security will be more. Security will be more. That is the reason projects will be divided between different companies. So maybe if this company has got development, and maybe if this company also has got testing team, okay, same company has got both the things. So developer they have to develop, and testing they have to test. Consider today is the last date for testing. So at the last date, they identified one issue. Okay, and they will be reporting to development team. So developers, they might say like, fixing this will take 2 days time, since it is like last day, let's ignore this for now, let's keep it silent. So if this is the thing happening after 2 years or 3 years, it might be again coming back in production. So by the time this project tenure might be completed, okay, project tenure might be completed. So finally, this team and this team, even though if both are different, as a whole, management is same, right? Overall management will be same, right? So from client perspective, this company might be having some reputation problem. That is the reason management, they might ask to cover this. So there might be such scenarios. That is the reason projects has to be divided between companies only. That is what client is doing today. So you can join like an PEGA developer in TCS, and testing team will be in another company mostly, and deployment will be in some other company. So it will be like different companies because of these three reasons. Okay, so today we are just understanding importance of framework and importance of implementation, and what will happen in your background. So from next class tomorrow, we have to understand how to log in. This is our actual PEGA tool, whatever you're saying. So how to log in, how to create implementations, how to create frameworks, how to identify frameworks, so how to drag and drop, all these things slowly will come to know. Okay, that will start in tomorrow's class. Clear, right, every one of you?
Yes, sir.
Any more doubts, anyone? Clear, everyone? Fine. So we'll be getting recording. Okay then. So if you're having any doubts or any kind of discussion to be done, you feel free to call to that number. Thank you.